Well, good morning, viewers. It's Nellie and Madam, and we are live, and we would love for you to join us. So,
Mhm.
we're going to try and give some
We
people a
are
shout out
live,
right
and
now.
we would love for you to join
Oh
us.
gosh,
Uh-oh.
sorry about that.
Can you,
What?
is it on your volume? I think it might be, or is there any volume coming out of your computer?
Well, did you hear something in the background?
I heard my voice. Oh, it's
Yeah,
on
it
the
was. I was
phone.
trying to share the podcast. I didn't know it like showed up at the
Mhm.
top on the
Yes.
banner. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I know it does. It'll come in at the top of the banner, and then you have to click on it, and it'll take you where you can then
Gotcha.
click and then
Okay.
share it. So,
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, we're trying to share out the podcast, so you guys will know we're here and come join us. So today we're going to talk about the full moon. We're going to talk about you know, the manifesting that we've been doing. We're going to tell you all about National Ghost Hunt Day, which I'm going to tell you about right now. National Ghost Hunt Day is September 24th. Mosquitoes in my room, sorry. And so the
We're going to try
24th
and
of
give some
September,
people a shout out.
it is
Right.
going to be extraordinary. It's not just really national, it's international. So, I mean, it's global and it's going to be so fun. And you can participate by watching the live feeds from different locations, or you can get tickets to a certain venue. If you live nearby one of these venues that's going to be going live. Hi, Nigel. Nice to see you. Then you can buy a ticket. You can actually go and get. Oh, thank you so much. You can actually go and get go live and hang out with people and do part of the investigating maybe. Hello, Jennifer. And so you can, there's a lot of stuff going on that day. And it's all over the United States, it's all over the globe. And so I'll be offering tickets to my location, which is my she shop. We're going to investigate the she shop and see what's out there because I'm pretty sure there's some spirits around here. And I've experienced them. So, I'm hoping that we'll catch something, on the equipment, and actually be able to prove that there's people here, and so that'll be fun, and so everybody can participate in that in some fashion, and then I think that's really all I have going on at the moment. So let's hear from you, Nellie.
Well, the Iowa Pagan Fest is coming up the end
Oh
of this
yeah,
month. Yeah, and so they're going to have like vendors. It's like all day, and they're
and
having
where is that
workshops.
again? Will you
It's
tell us
in
where that is again?
Burlington.
Burlington, right. And,
Yeah,
it's on what day?
to 27th.
Okay,
I
27th.
think it's from like 9 to 6 or something like that. So
Okay. Let
they're
me write
also
that down. It's
yeah,
August 27th, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and they're having vendors, they're having workshops, and I'm actually doing a workshop this year.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's gonna be
That'll be
fun.
excellent. What's your workshop on?
It's gonna be called Co-creating with the Muses, and it's gonna be
Oh,
like sharing about how I channeled my book and how like I think a lot of us we think that only specific people can channel or we don't have that gift yet, but it's like in fact everybody does it every day. Like every time you sit down and you get an idea for a new podcast or
hmm
you a new spell to make up or something that's actually channeling from your higher self or from your guides and from spirit. And so
hmm
yeah, I just kind of hope to encourage people and that everybody can channel and it's not scary and it's pretty easy. So
Okay, and August 27th, right? Is
mm-hmm.
that okay?
Yep.
August 27th, 27, 22, and then that's in Burlington. And I'm sure they probably have a like a Facebook page.
Yeah, they have an event up. Yep.
And it's the Iowa Pagan Fest, so then they can
Yeah.
find that, and it's and in Burlington. So good, we got all the information on that. So then they'll be able to attend that because I mean
Yeah.
it could be a lot of fun and very
Yeah.
very informative too. I'm sure.
Yeah, and meet new people. That's kind of like
Yep.
I've never
Oh
been there
yeah.
before, so I'm just like I want to go meet people, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
That's really where the fun is
yeah.
in meeting like-minded individuals, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, because, we all want to be able to tap into other people and, their experiences and their information and stuff and just, learn from one another and, get better ideas and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm hoping to like meet some people who like follow the Norse gods and
Oh,
goddesses
yeah.
because I mean I know that there's literally like around here even there are
Mhm.
like groups of them and that's what they do.
Yeah.
I mean that's who they, that's the deities they work with and I find them
Yeah.
fascinating and so I'm hoping to meet some people who can help me like tap
Yeah.
into that, and
Yeah. A lot of Norwegians, in this area and Swedish and Norwegian and so
mhm,
that's probably why they tap into the Norse gods,
right.
is from their family heritage. So, and thank
Oh,
you, Nigel, for sharing to your page. And good morning, uh, Bernice
yep.
Rodriguez.
Yeah,
Hello.
she's watching on my Facebook page. She's one of my
Hi,
regulars. Hey, Bernice.
awesome. That is so great.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so then, yeah, the supermoon, the sturgeon supermoon, that was last night, and it's
Right.
going on tonight, and it was the night before. So we're kind of like kind of in the dwindling stages of the new moon or of the
Yeah.
full moon, but it's still full moon. You can go out tonight and
Yep.
do any of your full moon activities.
Yep.
I was naked. I went naked under the supermoon and just bathed myself in moonlight, just for
Uh-huh.
just for a few minutes, it
Yeah.
wasn't like I was out there for an hour or something, 5-10 minutes because there was no cars coming.
Right.
So, I could get away with it. I'm right on the river, so nobody can see me on that side,
Right. Right.
and then nobody can see me as long as there's no cars coming. So I did my thing real quick and it
Right.
felt good. And I feel like I really feel uplifted today. I really feel like I got a lot of positive flow of energy today.
Right. I'm gonna have to try that. Like
Yeah.
I told my husband I wanted to move into like a more country area so that we could like do rituals like and my kids look at me like, "Are you seriously gonna go outside and dance naked around the fire?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, you don't have to look outside. I mean,
Exactly.
the curtain can be closed and you can just mind
Uh-huh.
your own business." But
Exactly. Yeah, no, and I think it does kind of make you feel rejuvenated, really.
mhm.
And I couldn't get Sam to join me in nakedness, but it was
Yeah.
okay. He was out there, he got a little
Yeah.
bit of moonlight, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff,
Mm.
and that's what life is about. Life's exciting if you're really living it.
Mhm.
If you're sitting on the couch and watching it go by, it's just like not as exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of that have you seen Outlander?
Yes.
Yeah, the episode where
I read like all the books too.
did you? There was the one girl who actually traveled back before Claire did, and she was out like dancing under a moon
Oh
ritual.
yes,
Yeah, she was
What's
serious. Yeah. I don't remember
oh,
her
her name.
name.
I can't remember her name either. I'll remember it
But
eventually.
but yeah, she was just like that was like the best thing in the world. She's like, you
Yeah,
should do that. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
And it really is. It is liberating. You feel very free. When you're out there and you're naked under the full moon. You feel kind of almost primal.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good. And I of course put my arms up. And just really felt the energy flow
Mhm.
through me. So
Yeah.
I think that we need that. And some people probably think what a load of horse pucky,
Right?
but it's not. And if it works for you, you shouldn't, you should just do it. Don't
Right.
let anybody tell you that magic isn't real, or that these things don't exist, because how do they know they don't exist? Have they proven? Have they been scientifically proven to them?
Right.
And if so, I wish they would share that information. Well, maybe
Mhm.
not, because I don't really want to know if science
Yeah.
ever proved any of that wasn't real. I would be like, just don't tell me. I don't
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah. It's like the thing is
Oh my
can they ever
goodness.
really prove it? right? Because
Yeah.
like, just the way that one atom responds to another across the universe, and they've already proven that. So I'm like, that really proves that energy does.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Bernice says she's always looking at the stars and the moon, and full moons are her favorite.
Yeah. They're my favorite too because they reflect off the water, so beautifully. And, I can go out, I go out and I look and I see the moon, and then I see this big reflection,
Mm-hmm.
throughout on the water. And it's just so beautiful. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They I can't sleep during the full moon, and it
Yeah.
kind of affects my kids too. That's the only thing I hate about it. I'm
Get
just
all
kind of
jazzed
like,
up. How
yeah,
cute.
yeah.
I forgot my drink in the kitchen. I left my coffee in the microwave. Darn it.
Oops.
So, well, if Sam comes back in, I might holler at him. Hey, go get my coffee, will ya? He's very sweet, and he really he's very he's like me. He's a people pleaser,
Mm-hmm.
When you get two people pleasers together, it's like Chip and Dale, the two
Yeah.
chipmunks that are just like tripping over each other. No, after you. Oh, after
Right.
you. Oh, you're so wonderful. No, you're wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how my husband and I are.
Yeah.
It's horrible. You try to outdo each other, just because you want to be the one that it never works.
You want to be the nicest person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, it's like when it's a competition to see who's nicer, it's things really can't go, bad from that.
No. No. Nope. Not really.
I think it's wonderful. So,
Yeah.
how is Mr. Mac today?
He's doing pretty good. I don't think I've ever told you, but he was diabetic and he didn't know it, and so his blood sugar was really, really bad, and
Oh, yeah.
he is kind of taken his health back into his own hands and
Good.
exercises
That's
eats
good.
better, and he just had a doctor's appointment, and they're really proud of him. Like he's just like almost totally back to normal now. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so I'm proud of him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good though. He's getting that under control. Exercise is the best, and
Mm-hmm.
just moderating your diet, and making sure you check your blood sugar often so that you can keep it very even, because
Mm-hmm.
you get tissue damage when it's either
Yeah.
too high, too low. So when you get those big swings, so if you can keep it kind of where it should be all the time.
Yeah.
um, my Dylan is he is type 1 diabetic. So
Uh-huh.
he deals with that on the daily.
Yeah.
It's tough, and
It is.
sometimes I have to remind him, did you check your blood sugar? When
Yeah.
he starts to get a little, ha, ha,
Yeah.
ha, ha, ha. Dylan, when was the last time you checked your blood sugar?
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
Yep.
I try and keep after it, and it's good to journal stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
because then sometimes you can correlate, where your weakness is, like
Right.
is it your diet, is it not enough activity, when did I have this high blood sugar, what had I eaten, what had not eaten.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that's helpful. So
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like the first to tell you, like, you know, like growing up in religion, everything is control, right?
yeah.
And so, like, as I was studying how to help him, like, the whole emotion behind blood sugar issues is control, right? Like
Uh-huh.
losing control, not being in control. And like just been
Yeah.
on this journey, and like he'll just look at my kids and be like, you can see that I used to be this person, but now I'm realizing that everybody's here on their own journey. And everybody's okay. Like there's no good, there's no evil, there's just experience for everybody.
Yeah.
And he's able to kind of I do feel that that energetic change in his how he thinks has
Uh-huh.
also helped him to, get control over his blood sugar and to, just be healthier.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that's a big thing, and when you first find out, it's not easy to start in on all that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's there's a lot of people in our country now, and I think a lot of it is diet, Too
Yeah.
many carbs, not enough activity. Too many carbs,
Yes.
not enough activity. And they will end up, in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, uh, it's easy. You can reverse it. And I've
Mm-hmm.
heard of people reversing it on many
Yep.
occasions because they changed the way they ate. They got more exercise. They decreased their weight, if they were overweight,
Mm-hmm.
and turn it around. So
Yep.
it's something that can be done. Just because you've been told you have diabetes, unless it's type 1 where you actually physically don't have
Right.
the production of insulin at all, then
Right.
you can turn it around.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and that's a good thing
Yeah.
because it's sad and it's kind of sick, but the pharmaceutical companies really they cash in on things like that, when
Yeah.
you're not just a patient, you're a client,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they pretty much stick it to you. And
Yep.
it's sad because if Dylan doesn't have insulin, one day he'll die,
Mm-hmm.
just in a few hours, really, you know and
Mm-hmm.
it's just not it's not right to do that to people,
No,
it
and
should be
the price
free.
of insulin is
Honestly, it should
fairly
be
high.
free. I mean, I
Yeah.
realize they have to make it, charge cost for it, uh
Right.
let's make it as part of something else, well, we're making this anyway, we might as well just make that too, so that
Right.
it won't cost them hardly anything, you know
Well, yeah,
I think they charge, more than they really have to.
they do for a lot of things, which is really
Yeah,
sad.
it is
Yep.
sad, and it's always the people who have to have that medication that
Mm-hmm.
get screwed,
Yeah.
because they can't say no to it, and that's
Yep.
just profiteering, in my opinion. And
It
I
is.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it when the big guy takes advantage of the little guy because they can.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like yesterday we were out shopping. I was with two of my kids and I noticed that the sticker on our license plate says we need to renew our sticker next month. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, we're gonna have to get that done. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I'm like, it costs us like $110 for that little sticker.
For a
And I'm
year,
like, yeah.
every
And I'm
year.
like, I'm like, that's just another way that the government is like taxing us in ways that
Yes.
we really shouldn't be taxed. Like, charge me for the sticker. Charge me
Yeah.
$1 for the sticker, and I would be
Yeah.
fine.
Well,
And
and the thing is, it's like they charge our income. So they've already taxed the money that we're using to pay for that tax. So
mm-hmm,
they taxed us on the income. They tax us for our cars. They tax us on gas. They tax us on any kind of cigarettes, alcohol. They tax us on any kind of goods, clothing or, fish food,
yeah,
we pay
mm-hmm,
tax for. And so everything basically, and then you pay property tax, you pay an inheritance tax if you inherit the property.
yep,
It's stupid. The amount of taxes that we have is breaking Americans,
yeah,
and I think that there's not really anyone that wouldn't agree that we pay far too much in taxes here. Now, I know we're not as bad as some countries. However, I don't care what they're doing. I don't live there.
right,
I live here. And
mm-hmm,
here is where I'm concerned about. And
yeah,
here we're paying far too much in taxes.
right,
And, to pass it off to big business isn't the way to do things, because they just find loopholes and get out of it anyway. So,
yeah,
big deal. And
yeah,
and so really the people that pay are middle Americans, people who used to be considered middle class, but there is no middle class anymore. Middle class means that we have a roof over our head and food to eat, because the lower class don't have that.
right,
you know they in some form, they maybe are homeless or something,
mm-hmm,
along those lines, have to go skip meals every day, maybe to pay for their house,
mm-hmm,
so
right,
so I'm telling you, there's just no middle class. You're either really poor or you're just barely making it, Or then
Mhm.
there's like, the uber rich, and I found out too, it doesn't take much more for you to go into that next tax bracket. So say you make, you know, 60,000 a year, you make 10 grand more, you're going up into that next tax bracket,
Mhm.
and it's going to cost you, you know, a lot more, in
Mhm.
taxes. So that 10 grand more isn't going to seem like much because they're going to
No.
take 3 or 4 or 5 grand in taxes.
Right.
So yeah, it's like you don't want to even take on anything extra. What are you going to get
Yeah.
out of it? By the time they bump you up and take more tax, it's like, yeah.
Right. Right. And then like what really gets me is that our money is like going like and I get that what's going over there and where's the war
Sadly,
at?
though, our inflation doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in Europe. It's dictated by the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Do you know? Do you know who runs that?
Yeah.
It's a guy. It- It's a financial guy.
Mhm.
He's got a board of directors, but it's just a bunch of rich guys, and they're controlling our entire economy,
Yep.
plain and simple. And they have a lot of pull, so they always are. I mean, don't think government doesn't run the way they want it to run. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep.
we got
Absolutely.
we have Kelly Elliott. She says hi, and then she says from the UK. So
Well,
hi, Kelly
welcome.
from the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome. That's nice to see you. And
Mhm.
how are your taxes in the UK? I've heard they're staggering. So, and those poor folks over there. Here's what I heard about that is that when they had that heat wave,
Mhm.
the retirees, people on fixed income were so tight, their income is, that they couldn't even afford to have the fan on all the time because it was too much of a cost to them to have to do that. And
Wow.
can you imagine going through that heat wave where it was over 100 degrees there with not even a
Mm.
fan? Oh my God, I'd die.
Mm.
Nobody has air conditioning there, which I get.
Right.
It's
Right.
not feasible. It's not warm enough. Who would bother? But
Yeah.
to have, yes, she says yes, they do have staggering
Mhm.
taxes. And they but to have no fan, gosh, it's
Yeah.
really hot in the UK. Yeah, we heard that it was that you guys are having like a heat wave over there,
Yeah.
and that's something that you're very unaccustomed to. And yeah,
Mhm.
tough.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
had
sorry to hear that.
I had friends on Facebook. They were like taking their little dogs and like putting wet cloths on them because the dogs were having trouble, right? I mean, it's not
Uh-huh.
just the humans, but they were trying to make their pets comfortable too. And it's
Sure. Oh, even
yeah.
like Viv was feeding and watering the little groundhog, or not groundhog, hedgehogs in the
Uh-huh.
backyard. And because the hedgehogs, they have to have water and stuff too. And her poor little hedgehogs were like, so hot because
Yeah.
they're not used to this weather either. And I
Right.
think she had like some other small animals, birds and things like that too, that she was, trying to keep cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible there. I mean, just imagine. I mean, we're used to, getting heated out in the winter, in the summertime. I'm
Mhm.
used to just being like stupid hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Iowa. It's hot and humid.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're so far north, they're up like Canada is. And
Mhm.
that's pretty tough for them. So God bless you, England. And yeah, it is stressful, I imagine, to
Mhm.
have to come up with the sort of funds that it would take you to say live in, London or something like that. I've
Yeah.
heard it's wicked expensive to visit there and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'd love to go
Yeah.
someday, but
Yeah.
gotta wait for the cash to come, which it is coming, by the way. I manifested, of course, on
Oh,
Lionsgate, on the Lions portal, Lionsgate,
right.
and money's come in every day. And it might
Wow.
not be like a knockout amount, but it's been, most days it's been like around $100.
Well, that's not
So
bad.
no, not at all. So I am totally stoked, and I'm very optimistic about the future and where
Mm-hmm.
things are going. And I have Sam to help me, get some things done before winter time,
Right.
and like wood cutting and
Right.
gathering and all that stuff. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's very sweet and he's going to help. So, just good things have been happening.
Yeah.
People have been bringing me by things that I needed, which I
Mm-hmm.
look at as the same as giving me money.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, I needed that. That's great. Thank you. And
Yes.
I finally got my bike. I got it running. I was going to run it to the shop, and I didn't get all the way. So I was kind of bummed
Oh,
about that. But luckily, they picked me up because I was like a stone's throw away from the bike shop.
right.
So
Yeah.
I'll get that going. Live
Yeah.
about an hour from London, Kelly says.
Yeah.
And then been to London a few times. Very expensive. Yeah,
It
that's what
is.
we had
Yeah.
heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
sadly, and parking, I guess, is a real nightmare there.
Yes.
So yeah, if you don't have to, you don't want to drive in to London.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I like my manifestations. I kind of like I've hit this spot where it's not coming through as money. It's coming through as more emotional. Like, like things like that I've been
uh-huh.
asking for. And
Yep.
so, I've just been trying to be grateful and like noticing like the emotional things because we don't always, right?
Right.
We sometimes we just get caught on abundance only being money, but
Right.
it isn't because I don't just
No.
ask for money. I ask for abundance in every way, right? And I'm
Well,
like,
see,
well,
I've already received all that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
now I just need the cash to support it.
right? Yep.
So yeah,
Yep, absolutely.
yeah.
But
Um, so then, did you? What have you done then? Oh, better off getting the train. Yep, yep. That's what
mhm.
we heard. So yep, good deal. So then, what have you? What did you do yesterday? Or have you done anything yet for the full moon to
Yeah.
cleanse, purify? Anything like that?
Well, I did a huge purging like my emotions about a week ago, and I had written out everything I wanted to let go of. And
Mm,
so I just really just burnt that last night. We had a bonfire and
good.
had a friend over, and we just put our intentions out there, and then we just kind of sat under the moon, and like just even like emotionally just getting with another woman, especially
Yeah.
as like I've got a lot of kids, she's got a lot of kids, and like sometimes you don't get to actually like have like conversations
Uh
with
huh.
adults very often, and so like we're just sitting
True.
there and was able to really just like dig deep, and
Yeah.
by the time we were done it was dark, but the darkness just felt so beautiful,
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah, and it wasn't super super dark because we had a super
mm-mm.
moon.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well, why don't you go ahead and do the reading that you were going to do?
yeah, well, I thought it was really interesting the way the reading came out because I just asked for the group of people who were going to be on here with us
Mhm.
today, like what themes were coming through for like
Okay, hang on
this.
just a sec. Go ahead and keep talking. I'll be right back.
Okay, just for the time leading up from this full moon into the new moon, and the theme all like really kind of just went back to the energy that we were going through like Aquarius. So it's an Aquarius super full moon, and Aquariuses are really quirky people. They can tend to like keep their emotions inside and not really just get them out there and be open, and they can be very sensitive. And so like that was the whole thing, like having the full moon in Aquarius was teaching us was to really just like um to tune into ourselves and what makes us happy, and um like be really honest about who you are and everything. And so that, because I have a daughter that's an Aquarius, and yeah, I that Aquarius is just really a really quirky but fun um zodiac sign to be with, right? Like they can be kind of
Yes.
challenging at times, but they're
Oh,
they're just
yes.
always there for you, right? And they're like
Yes.
always. So like we had the full moon in Aquarius,
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're working through that. And then, like the whole full sturgeon moon, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't know this, but did you know sturgeons, like they have to, how old are they? Like 60 years old before they
Yeah.
can mate?
Oh no, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I was reading about it. No,
Oh,
20,
I
wait,
knew
it's
they lived
20.
pretty old.
It's 20 years from birth to
Wow.
reproduction. And then they can only reproduce every 4 years,
Oh wow.
but they can
No
live
wonder
up.
they're worried about the sturgeon population then,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
But
mean,
yeah. And they were being overfished,
yeah,
and
right.
so,
For the eggs, for their eggs.
yeah.
Sturgeon are what they uh oh, I am from Iowa, Kelly. I'm from Davenport, Iowa. So, but yeah, sturgeon, their eggs were especially like the Russian sturgeon, are the best, the best,
Oh,
for caviar. So,
right. Right. That
yeah,
makes sense. So, yeah. So, like, that was like the, I think it was the Native Indians who called it a sturgeon full moon because it was the time when, the sturgeons were, let's see.
like spawning or
Yeah.
oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It said here, let's see. I printed it
Well, and I
out.
suppose it wouldn't matter if they were little tiny fingerlings when it got colder because they're kind of a cold water fish anyway.
Yeah.
And also, it takes forever for them to mature,
Right.
So, I mean,
Right.
it wouldn't matter if you were a little bitty fish in the winter and you just,
Right.
did your thing, and then just, kept going for the next 20 years before you could mate,
Right.
just
Yeah.
doing
So,
your thing,
yeah. It
your
says that it's,
sturgeon thing.
yeah, the sturgeon is the fish that was most commonly caught during the hot summer month of August in North America. So that's why they called it the sturgeon moon.
Walleye.
And
They're catching walleyes, I guess, now. Like,
really,
yeah, you got to fish kind of deep and you got to go by like a wing dam. Or I know
oh, okay.
they catch them at the locking dams,
Mm-hmm.
along there. But yeah, that's where they go to check out the oh, okay. Madam love a reading. Okay. So, are you doing specific readings,
Well,
Nellie?
I just pulled a group one, but I did grab my goddess cards in case anybody wanted a card
Okay.
on like what their theme is personally,
Okay.
releasing for the
I think
moon.
Kelly would like a car. She would like a reading then.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. So like the whole thing about this supermoon is that it's like signaling the harvest. So the
Uh-huh.
days are getting, colder and we're getting up to winter and stuff, but it's about gratitude. That's
Yeah.
the big theme is like the gratitude and like things that you've been putting into manifestation intentions over the summer and the
Hmm.
spring. They're all like starting to flow in, right? Like we both
Yes.
see that, like our
Yes.
intentions are coming, and
Definitely.
it's like the last push, your
Yeah.
perseverance. What are you going to pick back up and dust off and say, I can still get it done,
Yeah.
from that?
Yeah.
And so that's like really is that's what the energy we're moving into. And if we can tap into that and start like really being like grateful for
Hmm.
everything we have been given, then
Hmm.
we're going to reap a really good harvest,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So like the focus that came through was contemplation, and this was from my mermaid deck. So like what
Mhm.
we're supposed to be focusing on is each of us going internally, asking our higher selves, what do I really want? What is my higher self telling me is the best way to go forward, and not like tuning in, like Aquarius is like they really don't listen to anybody else. They have their own idea, and that's you're never really going to change the mind of an Aquarius, right? Because
Yeah.
even if you can prove it to them, they're just going to look at you and go, oh, whatever. So that's kind of where we're
So,
just, yeah, so what? So
yeah.
that's what we're just being encouraged is to do that ourselves, to take in that Aquarius
Mhm.
energy and to just be totally ourselves, no matter what anybody else is telling us is right or wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be hard for some people because we've never been allowed to do that.
I think the thing that oh, Kelly said she didn't see the card. Okay.
Hmm.
I think that a lot of people don't know what it is they really want, or what it is that makes them happy, or what their true passion is,
Mm-hmm.
because they've never allowed themselves to explore that possibility, or to
Right.
go there, and to just, I guess, be self-centered, to a
Yeah.
certain extent, and just say to themselves, well, what is it that I like? What do I want out of life? What is it that makes me tick? I
Right.
don't know. When
Yeah.
somebody asked me, Madam, how can I serve you? I was like, well, I don't know. Because no one had ever asked me, what do you want?
Right.
And so I had to really take some time to think about, well, what do I want?
Right.
What do
Right.
I like? I don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was it took me a while, but I'm there now. So
Yeah.
let's see. Bernice wanted a reading. So if you could maybe pull a card for Bernice.
Okay.
And
I'll
then
read
I'll
for
pull
Bernice.
one for Lily, because she said she'd like one as well. So
Okay.
then I have my Sacred Earth uh cards.
Oh.
So I have some little different ones, but
Okay.
um so go ahead and pull another, and then I'll use these.
Okay.
We're just shuffling away here. You shuffle, my friend said,
Okay.
shuffle until they feel heavy.
Yeah.
So, I guess it tells
Yeah.
you, oh, they're
Yeah.
they're they're good. They're full of it now.
Yeah. Okay, so Bernice, so you got Aphrodite, and this
Oh,
is the card of romantic love, but it was reversed. So that's telling me like that maybe in some way there's like some blocks towards, like I'm hearing specifically self-love. So I feel like you really need to like ramp up. No, actually, because we're going through the full moon cycle, so you've really got to just release the things right now that are keeping you from being able to feel loved, or to open up to deserving love, those types of things. So actually, I think would be really, really great if you could like, find a spell online to work with Aphrodite, or even just, you know, find out. I would think any pink crystal, and maybe burn some incense or something like that. Find a prayer or an invocation online for Aphrodite, and just spend like this moon cycle working with her and allowing her to help you to move into that passionate, sensual person that is going to be open to receiving love in every way.
hmm
So,
that's good. And I tell people too, you have to love yourself if you expect anyone else to love you. Because I mean, if you don't even love yourself, why would they want to love you? I mean, what is it about you that's lovable? And so
mm-hmm.
you have to demonstrate that.
Yeah,
You have to love and know yourself enough that it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks, or what their opinion of you is. And so then, when you're in that place, you really just don't care anymore. And it's like, for some reason, that is super attractive.
it is. Yeah.
That I mean, you can take it or leave it, and that is super attractive to someone. So
Mm-hmm.
you just have to be, secure with yourself and love yourself before you
Right.
can really be loved by someone else. So,
Right.
and that's a tough one. All right, Lily, here comes your card. It is, oh, oops, it's
Yeah.
upside down, and it is
Press.
preservation. Preservation. So let's see what we got on that. So do you read then, if they're upside down, do you read it differently, Nellie? If it
Only if the deck calls for it. Like
Okay.
some decks do.
Okay.
So I try to be really careful if I know that deck does have a bright,
Okay.
but
Yeah, this one I don't think does really have it doesn't state that there's a reversed meaning, you know what I mean?
right.
So it says, a dream is dormant but not lost, and the reticence to accept something positive, a slow awakening to love. It's okay to take your time. Emotional
Mhm.
barriers, self preservation may have become self sabotage, rejecting opportunity due to fear or anxiety. The the dismissal of kindness or a doubt over someone's intention is unwarranted. Basically, yeah, what we do is we close ourselves off to love because we don't want to get hurt.
Mhm.
And I think this card tells us that, there are other ways to preserve ourselves, yet still accept that love, from
Right.
someone else. So, yeah, peace is a surrendering. Love is vulnerable. Allow yourself to trust and believe that love is here for you. You are safe, protected, and loved by the divine. Let love water the seeds of joy, creativity, and contentment that lie within you. That's
Mm.
nice, actually. I like that.
Yeah.
And so then accept the blessings of this world into your heart so your true self can blossom. And then it goes on to talk about the insight of it. And it talks about water, how soil absorbs rain, uh,
Mhm.
it saves it for the seed, sort of a symbiosis. And
Right.
that's the same thing in love, that you have to water it, you have to tend it, you have to, give that person what they need to grow and flourish, and in turn they will give you what you need to grow and flourish. And it should
Right.
be a symbiotic relationship when you love someone.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that's what that card says to me. So um all right, did we get everyone that wanted to have the
Well,
reading?
I
We
don't
did.
think Terry got one because actually I was starting into the reading for the forecast for this cycle, and that's what the contemplation card was for. It wasn't for
Oh,
Terry,
okay. I don't see
Kelly,
Terry.
not Terry, Kelly. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Kelly.
Kelly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and
Oh,
uh
okay. So yeah, so like I just asked what was this cycle, like what we were going to work on leading up to the new moon, and it was that going inside, that finding out what you
the
really want.
internal work.
Right. And then so like oh, just a second. The book has a specific thing here.
I know I look at the book all the time. I even if I know it, I still look at the book for like a reference kind of. Just I don't need to, but I think I do.
Yeah. So like this is a full moon spread that's in the book. And so so the first card is what's falling away and what do I need to forgive? And I thought it was really interesting that it went straight to the new moon. A new start is
Ah,
coming. So excuse me. And then secondly, it was what was the illuminated full moon showing me? And it was have faith in your dreams, which is like the card
mm,
about like moving forward, not giving up,
yeah.
and realizing that the things that we've been
Believing in your manifestations.
exactly, that it's
Mhm.
moving along slowly, right?
Yep.
And then by the end of this cycle, and we get to the new moon, we have the new moon in Sagittarius, which is says luck is on your side, and it's
Ah,
all about like the heavier energies like falling away, and you're starting new adventures. You're
uh-huh.
getting excited and everything. So I was just like, that was just really great energy because I do feel like there's been a lot of heaviness in the collective and stuff. And,
Yeah.
we're just trying to transmute all that and clear our energy. But, we're working up to that new moon. And here's the promise that by the time you get there,
Hmm.
everything's going to feel a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's a good thing too, that every month, you uh have a different, you got a new chance to do something new, or that
Yeah.
you haven't done before, or that maybe, you have to reinforce that,
Yeah.
or you have to remove some blockage, that was has been in your way.
Right.
For me, that was the case. I had to let go of some things and just really pick up my vibrations and
Right.
and just find that inner peace. And I mean, people know. I mean, they look at you and they say something different.
Right.
Because when you have that feeling inside of you, I think it kind of comes out.
Yeah.
in your vibe. You vibe
Right.
it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, vibrations are a big deal. I'm really honing in on the vibrations.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, and I see it, like I can almost envision it, that all the cells, because I've seen them like moving around and stuff, and they do
Hmm.
kind of vibrate, when
Right.
they move around, they're just like vibrating and moving, and and they buzz. It's almost like a buzz.
Right.
And so it's all happening everywhere in your body,
Hmm.
at this very moment. And it's really kind of weird and kind of exciting and cool, when you think about the processes that are going on, and that you're creating this vibration in the universe,
Right.
that is able to like change things, like you move the air that you go through. I mean,
Right.
you make a path for yourself, waves go out around you,
Right.
and just like in water, same thing.
Hmm.
You only just don't see it in the air, you
Right.
know but
Yep.
it's amazing that these things are all taking place. it's
Right.
it's fun. It's fun, and it really, I think, fires up your imagination, and your
Right.
creativity and all of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what do you do to get your vibrations up?
Dancing.
Good, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, like if I'm really needing something, I'll do like I do my Reiki on myself or my light language. Um, just try to like do fun things, like do things with the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, laughter's
Hmm.
always good. Just
Yeah.
finding something that really, tickles your funny bone, and just having a real good laugh on it, or
Right.
just things that bring you joy. I like to go out and collect rocks on the beach, or
Hmm.
things like that. I think the rocks, collecting them, it sort of brings me inner peace, and then
Right.
it helps like stabilize my vibration with that of the earth,
Right.
so that I'm kind of traveling on the same wavelength.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, the rocks kind of help me. And I had this
Yeah.
weird thought yesterday about, what if they were actually sentient beings, rocks, and
Hmm.
they recognize themselves,
Hmm.
and they were like, oh my god, we're getting picked up, where in the heck are we going now, oh dear god, she put us in a pocket, you know
Yeah.
just oh, where are we going now, it's like, it's
Right.
just rocks are, they don't go anywhere super fast. So traveling in your pocket's got to be like, a thrill ride.
Right.
A rock, and it's just funny because like it's, and you wonder, like, because they could have their own spirit. I mean, they have their own vibration.
Mhm.
The rocks could be, ancestors, who knows. And
Right.
so they all have their own vibration and their own, you know, addition to
Yeah.
your well-being.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just was having a little fun imagining
Yeah.
rock. You know,
Yeah, that thought's entered my mind too, but I don't think
yeah.
I took it that far. I think you have a very wonderful imagination.
Oh, thanks.
I do. I think it probably keeps you young and
Yeah.
pretty happy.
Well,
Yeah.
I do feed my inner child, and I think that's important for people. Like
Mhm.
I'll go out and swing on the swing. I have like playground
Mhm.
swings, and I'll go
Mhm.
swing on the swing. And I think because I'm an air sign as well,
Right.
that movement of air, as you swing,
Mhm.
is like it's like rejuvenating for me. And the
Right.
motorcycle too. That whole
Yeah.
wind therapy thing. There's something to it. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
flying. I'm going so fast, and I'm like, you know,
Oh,
the air,
okay.
flying by me, I really do feel like I'm flying, like the air is
Okay.
just like I'm low to the ground flying.
Right. That makes sense. That helps me understand my Aquarius daughter so much better. Because Aquarius, we
Yeah.
all think they're water signs, but they're really air signs. But
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so anything that involves like the movement of air, We
Mm-hmm.
kind of dig it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, going fast.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's in a boat or whatever. And it's really weird too. I thought about water and air have the same we use the same propulsion systems to go through water or air. You know, you use
Mm-hmm.
propellers and they basically push you, you know,
Right.
through the air or the water. And it's very similar in design, whether you're moving through air or water. I
Right.
mean, and if you look at it, it's the same element basically, different state of matter.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. So, was you gonna pull a card for Kelly, or did you want me
Oh,
to?
well, okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Bernice says she collects rocks too, everywhere she goes. So
Yeah.
that's good.
She also said that she's been reading about Aphrodite, so it
Oh,
definitely hit home. So yeah.
oh, good, good, good. That's nice. Doesn't that make you feel good when it actually has some meaning for them? You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of fulfilling, you know, in a way, because
Mm-hmm.
you know that maybe you know it was something that'll be helpful to them. So, okay, so for Kelly, I'm going to go for this one, and it is. Oh, this is a good one. Uh, unity, unity.
Oh.
Yeah, because we all are one, and we're talking Perry unity here with the National Ghost Hunt. So let's see. Uh, See your worth and the value of others. A refusal to accept less than equal footing in a partnership. An assumption bias or other barrier could hinder a fair outcome. Strive for reciprocity. There's a solution that benefits all parties. Connecting through differences. Empowerment is a better strategy than seeking power. Act now for the long term benefit of your loved ones. And then peace is not somewhere in the future, it is here. You don't need to search for it. Trust, let go, be present, and it will find you. The present is the point from which life flows. All is born, will die, and be reborn into this one moment. All is present in the now. You are, we are, all is equal. That is so poignant and true that we are all equal, and that you know we were all born, we'll all die, and we'll all hopefully be reborn into the next plane, you know. But yes, an empowerment is definitely better than seeking power, because
Yeah.
I think people who are empowered are much nicer to work with than people that you have taken power of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the difference in the work environment of a good supervisor and a bad supervisor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because when you empower people, they are eager to do the things that need doing, and they want to come and do stuff, you know, every day, because they feel good about the things that they're doing, and they feel like they mean something, and that the
Right.
things they're doing mean something. Purpose. Everybody has to have purpose.
Yep.
Yeah. Bernice says your cat is lovely.
Yeah. He seems to come here just about at the end of the podcast
Isn't
every
that
Friday
funny?
now and just kind of
Yeah.
like checks
I don't know where
everything.
Bob is. Bob's out. Well, like
Yeah.
he's outside. I left the door open because it was nice, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's no keeping Bob in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is here's vibrating Bob. He's like a neck pillow, you know. And if
Mm-hmm.
you push his paw, he vibrates. So
Ah.
just a little neck massager. But
Um.
actually, Bob will lay in the middle of vibrating Bob, and I'll turn it
Oh.
on, and he'll just lay there.
Aw.
He loves to be vibrated for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh well, who doesn't? Okay, well, this is the morning show. Oh, come on, Bob. Come here. Kitty, kitty. Here, Bobby. Come on. Come on. He finally came. He must have heard his name. Come on, Bob. Hey, come on. Come on. Here, boy. Come on. Get up here. Here comes Bob.
Aw.
There's Bob, everybody. Say hi to Bob.
Aw.
He's like, no, I don't think so. He's
I
like,
love the
yeah,
white spot on his nose.
It must be sprinkling outside because he's kind of.
Yeah, they said it was supposed to start raining.
He just shook and he had water all over him.
Aw.
It's Bobby.
Aw.
Oh, Bob. Everybody gets to see you on TV.
He's handsome.
He's a very handsome guy. And he just cracks me up. He's so funny sometimes.
Yeah.
He really, like right now, he's just sitting right in the middle of all my stuff,
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't sit somewhere there's not stuff,
Yep.
Sit on the stuff.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, Lordy in heaven. Well, we're getting down to 53 minutes of show. So we got about, just a few minutes. Is there anything that you wanted to add, like, to let people know at the last minute here about what you got going on? How's the book doing? Are you doing any more book signings or anything? Soon?
Not yet. Spellbound is having the one in August. She said in the fall.
Okay.
So,
like next month, maybe, or October.
Yeah, yeah. Like she actually has my books there for sale at Spellbound,
nice.
though.
Okay, so Spellbound, they can go buy your book there or at Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Like basically everywhere. My publisher puts it. Barnes and Noble.
Okay. And the name of your book again is
Ancient Paths.
Ancient Paths. And is this going to be a series then of books?
Yeah, I've got like 4 more planned.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so it's basically about the return of the fairies.
Mm-hmm.
And so connecting, which is just really funny because the last week when I'm pulling cards for myself every morning, they're like, you need to start connecting with the fairies in a real way. And I'm like, oh shit, this is just going to be taking me even deeper. And I'm like, am I ready for this? Because,
yeah. You have to ask yourself if you're going to contact the fairies, if you are ready for that. Because that's no joke, and you really need to be prepared for that. So what did you do to prepare then?
For connecting with the fairies?
Yeah, for making contact with these guys.
Well, I've worked with them for a while. Like I know like some people say that some of them are malevolent, but I've just always been like, I've made it my intention that only fairies of 100% light, right? Because I don't want tricksters and I don't want all that stuff. So that's just that protection that I put out there. But I'll leave offerings, like they like almonds.
Okay. So you'll take them some almonds to the place.
Yeah. Well, like I put them on my altar or I'll put them outside wherever. And then, obviously if you've put them on your altar, then the fairies consume the essence. And so you're really not supposed to eat it afterwards. So then I take it out and I throw it outside. So like the birds or something can partake of it. And, I've done some different like meditations with them, like to activate me into that realm and things like that. But I'm getting the feeling that I'm actually supposed to be actually seeing them now. Like with my eyes.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of what I'm processing and figuring out because I've never been that person. I have to go in here to see what's talking to me and stuff like that. And so I think I'm kind of blocking myself. I'm kind of scared because.
Well, and it might really even be like your inner, like your third eye, your inner eye that you see them, and you never know. Maybe you'll see them with your outer eyes too.
Right. So either way, it's all good, but I think that I'm supposed to connect before I write the next book. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That gives you something to work on and something to kind of,
Yeah.
It's always a new experience too, which is great. So, I mean, and that's the thing about witchcraft. I mean, gosh, there's so much out there that you can experience and learn and do that it's like a new thing every day if you want,
Yep.
It's great. Or you can like really focus on one area of and really study the heck out of it and, get yourself, really becoming an expert in one area too.
Right.
So, yeah. Like me, I learned a little bit about this and then I flipped to another thing and,
Right. Yeah. Do you want a goddess card before we go?
Sure. Let's do it. I love goddess cards. These are great. I do like the mermaid cards though too. because I kind of consider myself a mermaid. Well, more like a
Mm-hmm.
siren, really, but
Okay. Oh, looky here. You got Aphrodite, but she wasn't. I swear I shuffled. I put the card back on and I shuffled. And so you've got that whole thing
nice.
about romantic love and moving into
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
it's funny you should say that because I have started a new relationship. Um, he's agreed to be my collared sub, which means that he belongs to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I, as as such, I belong to him. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm not. I also have two other collared subs, and I belong to them as well, or they belong to me. So it's not a monogamous type of relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
I think for us it works, and so I'm very happy. Bob's getting giddy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everything's going great, and it's not surprising that I would get Aphrodite and that she would be African American looking.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yep.
that makes total and complete sense to me.
Yep.
So that's good. There you go. Another one that made total and complete sense. That always makes
Yeah.
you feel better, doesn't it?
Apparently Aphrodite is the goddess of the hour. So
Yes, and that's nothing wrong with that. Love is a good thing, whether it's love for yourself, love for your fellow man, love as a romantic love. I said
mm-hmm.
to people, don't be so focused on romantic love that you miss out on all the other love that's in your life,
Right.
whether it's a pet or a friend or a family member or just, the general public. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
you just be open to receiving love in any form, and it will increase your vibrations, make you a happier person and more solid and secure in who you are.
Right.
So,
Because
well,
yep.
it looks like we're at an hour and 9 seconds. So is there anything at the last minute that you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. Just if you haven't done your full moon ritual, make sure you get it done.
Okay. And then
Yep.
can you catch Jane after the broadcast to pull a card with her? I don't know if she's like someone that you've worked with or
I don't
not
recognize
familiar.
her,
Okay.
but I can
Okay.
write
Um
her name down and I can send her a
well, and
card
you
on.
can, if you want, I can I think you have the credentials to get into skeleton key witches at gmail.com. So they can always send any information or contact us in any way through at skeletonkeywitches at gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's our email. And oh, feel invisible in your life. Oh, that's terrible. Um, yeah, I kind of let's just, you know what? I don't know what's on after us, but they can. I think they can cut in over us. We are just going to go ahead and draw a card for her. I would like to.
For
I just
Samantha.
feel, yeah, I feel the need that we need to do that for Samantha.
Okay. And if you want, while you're doing that, I'll just pull one for Jane real quick and then
Okay, so
we'll be
let's do
done.
that. Okay, so we'll pick one for Samantha, and then we'll pick one for Jane, and then we'll have gotten everyone in the chat, and because I don't like to ever leave off on anybody. They may have, this may be like something that would really help them, and I wouldn't want to leave off on that. So, and I don't like she says she feels invisible in her own life because you really need to be the main character in your own life. All right, so we have expectation. Expectation. Isn't that a beautiful card? That's
It
lovely.
is.
It looks like a phoenix too. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, so the it's what's on the cover as well. So, expectation. Let's see, BBE. It says confront your ideas about a situation, a relationship, or yourself. Poke, dare, and test your expectations. If it is real, it will remain. Be honest, reflective, and determine if an accepted truth is truly serving you and those you care about. Consenting to things turning to cons- Consenting to things turning out okay is settling for less. Expect more for yourself and your circle. Let go of what you know to make way for wisdom. And then let's see, inspiration breaks through expectation like a lightning bolt. It awakens inside you, shatters doubt, and fills your life with creative energy. Every day you are the creator of a new world. Be the creator of a fairer, more inspiring, and positive one. Shift perception, raise expectation, and burst into a new horizon. Hope anticipates better days ahead. Happiness makes better days today. So make it a good day today, and never forget that you are the creator of your life, and it make it good.
Yeah.
So okay, so we got then
Hey.
Jane.
So for Jane, you got Freya, who is an amazing goddess.
Yeah,
But it was reversed. And so, like, this card says it's radical acceptance. And so, like, anything that you've seen as a limitation or any challenge or something that you've come across lately, like they don't want you to be feeling like you're at the end or you have no direction to go. It's time to just really like step into your power and accept everything that has happened as a part of your life lesson and journey. And if you have to change course a little bit, or just regather your strength and push forward in where you're going, but definitely you're being supported and empowered to look past everything that has happened and occurred and to accept it so that you can move forward. It's like the serenity prayer. Help me to
oh
accept,
yeah,
right, the things that I can and change the things that I can't, right?
yeah,
So and you definitely, like, working with Freya is amazing. And so if you can do that, and yeah, I definitely have like a beautiful prayer that I use for Freya. And so if you would like that, yeah, you'll have to help me figure out how to get back into the skeleton because I've never gotten into it. But
oh
if
okay,
you do, you can message me on Facebook at Nellie, find me Nellie Mack, or you
oh
can
yeah, there you
do
go.
the skeleton key, and I can forward that prayer to you
Yep,
so that you
there
can
you go.
have that.
I will just stick around after we go off the air, and I'll tell you how to get into the skeleton key witch's email.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okie doke. Well, that winds it up for us. We went almost 6 minutes over, so we gotta go now. But
Yep.
it's been wonderful talking to you guys, and I hope we've been helpful to you. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope that you go out and find yourselves and love yourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
then so everyone else can love you as well, because you're all wonderful people that
Yep.
deserve love and deserve happiness. And so go out and find it. Damn it. Blessed
Yep.
be, everyone. Blessed
Bye.
be, and have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.